families in the local area. More about that is on our website and also on your Bible app if you want to find out more there. Then, of course, get out your Bible if you brought one with you today and find the book of Proverbs. You can also follow along on the free Bible.com Bible app. Just search for our church under events, and you'll see an outline there ready to go. There's links. There's actually questions for a poll that we'll take together. So today we're starting this brand new 3-week message series called Strapped, because it's very common for people to feel strapped for money in our society. In fact, let's start off with a little poll, if you will. You can complete the poll on your Bible app. You can complete it with just a show of hands if you like to. How many of you would agree just a little more money would make life a whole lot better? Just a little bit more money. Doesn't have to be a lot. Just a little bit more money will make life a lot better. Yeah, and if you feel that way, you feel strapped. That's why we're taking 3 weeks to talk about money. Now, as I say, we take 3 weeks to talk about money. Some of you just plan to skip out on church for the next 2 weeks. You're conveniently planning to your illnesses next Sunday morning. Or planning to accidentally sleep in, because it's not really fun to talk about money. It's just one of those subjects we don't like to talk about. But Dave Ramsey is a financial expert. He's the author of best-selling book, The Total Money Makeover. He disagrees that money is not fun to talk about. He says, actually, money is fun if you got some. Money is fun if you got some. But for most of us, talking about money is not fun. We often feel guilty about the way we've misused our money or used our money and bought extravagant things. So how many of you, just another quick poll, how many of you have done something stupid with your money before? How many of you have done something you regret with your money? You've done something that you don't feel very confident about, made an extravagant purchase or something like that, risky investment that you kind of regret. So if you've done something stupid with money, it puts more stress on us when we talk about money, because talking about money makes us feel guilty and makes us feel stupid. And talking about money in church is even worse, because we know that the pastor is going to try to get us to give money to the church, right? And we only give so little money to the church because we feel so strapped. And so it's just kind of this endless cycle. But here's the deal. Church is not a place that we want you to feel guilt or shame or regret, because Jesus has actually taken our guilt, He's taken our shame, He's taken our regret on the cross. So we don't want you to feel strapped as a church. We don't want you to feel guilty for being strapped at the church. Jesus talks about money actually all the time. So even though He takes away our guilt and our shame, He still talks about money all the time, because it's a real thing. It matters to us. It matters to Jesus. It consumes our thoughts. It consumes our lives. We spend 8 to 12 hours a day, working for this thing called money. Money is the stuff that we fight about in our marriages and sometimes breaks apart our marriages. It's so powerful that way. So money actually matters to Jesus. It matters to us, and so it matters to our church. So our goal is not to heap more guilt and shame at you through this 3-week series or anything like that. Get rid of the guilt, put it all aside, get rid of the shame. We're going to move forward. It doesn't matter how stupid you've been in the past, we're just not going to be stupid in the future. Right? So let's get rid of that stuff. We're just going to move forward. Besides, really, if you've done something stupid, you're in really good company, because so has the rest of America just about. So here's some stats for you about the people, all of us that make money mistakes and how common they are. So in America, the average household debt is 136% of their household income. So that means if you make $50,000 a year, you're $68,000 in debt. The average credit card balance is $14,517. The average 21-year-old already owes $12,000. Just 7 years later, the average 28-year-old owes $78,000. The percentage of households living paycheck to paycheck in America is 55%. That's over half of the country is living paycheck to paycheck. If they lost their job, they'd be homeless basically in a month. Kind of makes that whole check-in for charity thing for Family Promise a little more real, right? Because homelessness is not really that far removed from 55% of America. There is a problem with our use of money in our country. We feel strapped. We're living paycheck to paycheck. We're very close to it. We feel like we don't have the room to breathe sometimes. We feel like we can't catch a break. And even if we have more money now than we ever have in the past, then it still feels like we're strapped, because the expenses just keep mounting and we can't ever get over that hump. So the expenses keep growing, our income grows, we still feel strapped. And the bad news is that it's just human nature to feel strapped. It doesn't matter really how much money you make or don't make. It's just kind of human nature to feel strapped. You will always feel strapped, actually. You will always feel strapped, feel like you don't have enough, because how much is enough? Just a little bit more. It's the way we always feel. How much is enough? Just a little bit more. Ecclesiastes, Solomon in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 10 says, "Those who love money will never have enough." how meaningless to think that wealth brings true happiness. So you'll always feel strapped. You'll always feel like you don't have enough, because the solution to feeling strapped isn't just more money. The solution to feeling strapped, if you don't want to feel strapped anymore, the solution is thinking differently. Your thoughts will affect your feelings. The solution to feeling strapped by money is a new perspective on money. Because the reality is that feeling strapped is just a feeling, not a reality. If you want to see what really being strapped is like, take a mission trip. Go to Haiti. See what really being strapped looks like. The fact that you can't afford cable doesn't make you strapped. It makes you feel strapped, but you're not really strapped. That's not a reality, it's just a feeling. With a simple change of perspective, you can leave today, I think, released and free from this feeling of being strapped. It's all about perspective. There are 3 perspectives we're going to talk about today that people have about money. 3 perspectives. And of those 3, there's one perspective that I believe is the best. So the 3 perspectives are a poor perspective, a rich perspective, and a godly perspective. Now, these 3 perspectives have nothing to do with how much money you actually have, how much money you make. They are perspectives on money. They're the way we think about money. So when I talk about a poor perspective, I'm not talking about poor people, and I'm not criticizing people who don't have money. No, more often than not, I'm talking to us more rich people or middle-class people, talking about all of us here in the room that have some, but we have a poor perspective about money. And that poor perspective needs to change. So let's talk about that first perspective, the poor perspective. You know that you have a poor perspective if these 2 thoughts sound true to you. I use my time to earn money, and money is meant to be spent. Sounds true, right? I use my time to earn money, and money is meant to be spent. So first, I use my time to earn money. That means you go to work, right? If you want money, you got to work. If you want more money, you got to work more. Sounds true. We'll come back to that idea in just a second. And then secondly, money is meant to be spent, right? Once I earn the money, I spend the money. So how many of you, when you carry around cash in your wallet, then it just sort of flies out somehow? It's like all those dead presidents are just eyeing you, saying, spend me, spend me, spend me. Right? Anybody do that? It's hard for me to carry around cash in my wallet. Money is meant to be spent, we think. And so that's the poor perspective. In Proverbs 21:20 says, fools spend whatever they get. Fools spend whatever they get. In this poor perspective, we're enslaved to kind of a spending mindset. You are a servant, you are a slave to others to tell you how to spend your own money. Do you feel like a slave? Oh no, I'm not a slave, right? Nobody tells me how to spend my money. I do what I want with my money. Not really. Not really. If you think about it, you are a slave in many ways. Think about all the ways that you are a slave to marketing. Dave Ramsey says, you buy things you don't want to impress people you don't like with money you don't have. Because you're a slave to marketing. You're a slave. You're tempted and influenced. You're tricked into thinking that you have to buy this new and shiny thing. You're tricked into thinking that this luxury is actually a necessity. Even if they're not necessities, even if they are luxuries, you think, well, I might as well buy it because I have the money in my wallet. And money is meant to be spent. I'm just going to buy it. And the poor perspective is actually what most of us have in life. This is, I think, the most damaging perspective to us. It's the perspective that always makes us feel the most strapped, the most imprisoned. So it's the perspective that makes you go into debt. Because we're just enslaved to buying stuff that we don't need because we think we need it, because someone else has it and they say that we need it. And even if we don't need it, we might as well buy it because money is meant to be spent. It's just a few dollars. Proverbs 22:7 says, just as the rich rule the poor, so the borrower is servant to, or slave to, or in bondage to the lender. The poor perspective makes us feel strapped. Now let's contrast this poor perspective with the second perspective, which is the rich perspective. Now the poor perspective is, I use my time to earn money, and money is meant to be spent. The rich perspective is, I use my money to earn me time, and money is best invested. That's the way the rich perspective is. The rich perspective sees that the reason people want to pay me money for my time is because my time is actually valuable. The rich person realizes that the wage or the salary that you get paid for your time is too little, and your time is actually more valuable than any salary. In fact, a little bit of money plus a lot of time equals a whole lot of money. Time is more valuable than any wage. It's more valuable than any salary when you invest. So money is best invested, the rich perspective says. And through the power of compounding interest in an investment, I use my money to earn me back some time. So if my money is making me more money, then I don't have to work as much, right? I have a little bit more time. I use my money to earn me time because money is best invested. Now, fair warning, I am about to nerd out on you just a little bit. You might want to take a little bit of notes just to keep from getting lost. But I want you to imagine with me a scenario. Imagine with me a guy with a poor perspective on money. Let's call him Pete. Poor perspective Pete. Okay? Now, Pete thinks this cup of coffee is worth, it costs $3.50. $3.50 is very cheap. I have $3.50 in my wallet. So I'm going to buy one cup of coffee on my drive to work every day, 5 days a week. Now listen, nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. This guy with a poor perspective on money actually has a really good income. He's a pretty rich person. So why not spend $3.50 on coffee? There's nothing sinful about that. Nothing bad about buying coffee. And so if we do a little bit of math, we find out that 50 weeks per year, or let's say he takes a 2-week vacation, 50 weeks per year, 5 days a week, $3.50 per day, he spends $875 a year on coffee. Now let's say that Pete keeps up this coffee drinking habit at the same rate for 30 years while he works in the same job. Pete will have spent, over his 30 years, $26,250 on coffee. Again, there is nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. He makes a good living. He can buy himself a latte if he wants to. That is absolutely fine. But let's contrast poor perspective Pete to rich perspective Rich. So Rich doesn't drink coffee. Instead, he invests $3.50, not a lot of money, $3.50 a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks per year into a mutual fund with compounding interest. Also for 30 years. Pete has enjoyed some really good coffee in his lifetime, but doesn't have any money to show for it. Rich hasn't enjoyed any coffee, but he's got an investment now that's worth something. Now, Pete spent $26,250 on coffee. What do you think Rich's investment is worth? Over $150,000. $158,332.88. Now, maybe 30 years of coffee is worth $26,000, but is it worth $158,000? That's for you to decide. It's up to your perspective on money. It depends on your perspective. The poor perspective is, I use my money, I use my time to earn me money. Money is meant to be spent. The rich perspective is, I use my money to earn me time, and money is best invested. Now listen, don't say, great, you just told me I'm too poor you can buy a cup of coffee. No. That's not what I'm saying. Not at all. That's that poor perspective creeping back up inside of you. You just have to shift your perspective a little bit. It's not that you can't afford a $3.50 cup of coffee. Of course you can afford it. And money can be spent. But the rich perspective says money is best invested. So I'm investing something for something better than just a cup of coffee. But okay, here's where we actually really get strapped most of the time. And that's in buying cars, right? Because cars are the second most investment pretty much anybody makes besides buying their own home. And when you get into new cars, we're not going to talk about the math about factoring in the interest rate, your car payments, all that kind of stuff. You don't want to know how much money we actually waste on buying cars. Again, buying cars is not sinful, not shameful. I bought a car earlier this year, okay? Not sinful, not shameful, but you should always buy what you want, but just look at it from both the poor perspective and the rich perspective to know how much money you're actually spending. Because the reality is you don't have to work another day in your life to spend that hard-earned money on a car. The poor perspective thinks, I work for my money so that I can spend it on a car. But that's not the way the rich perspective is. The rich perspective is, my money that I invest is going to buy my new cars. So you can basically drive free cars for the rest of your life if you want to. Now that sounds really crazy. But some of you have the poor perspective that you will always have a car payment. You don't have to always have a car payment. The reality is you don't have to have a car payment for the rest of your life. You don't have to spend a dime of your hard-earned money on a car. If you just do this one thing, if today you started paying yourself a car payment, the average car payment, investing that money in a mutual fund or something, you paid yourself the average car payment, and then in just 6 short years, you could stop paying yourself a car payment, and for the rest of your life, every 5 years, you could buy a $15,000, $20,000 car just on the interest your money has earned. You never have to pay another car payment. You never have to pay yourself another car payment. It's pretty crazy. It sounds like magic. It's not magic. It's just math. And God created math. Now, some of you don't believe that. You think math is from the devil. God actually created math. Money is best invested. I use my money to earn me time. Now, it doesn't have to just be cars either, right? That's just kind of where we get sucked into. But this goes for anything. It's just the power of compounding interest, power of math at work from the rich perspective. Putting your money to work for you instead of being a slave to spending. Money is best invested. I use my money to earn me time. And there are two types of people in this world. I've said this before. Two types of people in this world. People that pay interest, people that earn interest. The poor perspective is the first one, people that pay interest. The rich perspective is the one that earns interest. The first type says I have to work for money. The second type says I put my money to work for me. Now, of course, listen, right? I get it. Life happens. You can't save all your money all the time. You are going to buy some cups of coffee. That's okay. You're going to do that. But we could try saving some money sometime, right? And by investing some money, you can actually save yourself some time as well. Because time is really what's more valuable than our money. Now, next week we'll talk about these practical steps that we can take to save and simplify next week's message called Act Your Wage. But here's the reality. Most people in our society are not strapped because of income. They are strapped because of perspective. You have a poor perspective on money instead of a rich perspective. You're a servant to money instead of letting your money serve you. Now, what if we could take this perspective thing just one step further? And we didn't just have a rich perspective on money, but instead we had something better. We had something greater. What if we didn't just have a rich perspective, but actually had a godly perspective on money? What would a godly perspective on money actually look like? Well, the rich perspective realizes that time is more valuable than money. And a little bit of money plus a lot of time equals a whole lot of money. But what do you do with that more time and more money? What do you do with it? That's where the godly perspective comes in. The rich perspective says, well, I use that time on myself. And I use that time to make more and more and more money. But the godly perspective is something different. The godly perspective is to use your time and your money for the glory of God. The godly perspective is I use my money and my time to serve God. So it's much, much harder to serve God when you're busy serving money. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 24, Jesus tells us, no one can serve two masters, for you will hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and be enslaved to money. The godly perspective on money means that we put our money to work for us as we go to work for God. Our money serves us as we serve God. So let's go back, of course, to this coffee example. Now, some of you perceptive students out there might have thought, no, wait a minute, didn't just a few weeks ago Andrew was telling us to have more cups of coffee with people and buy people lunch and all that stuff and to get together with people more often? And now he's telling us not to buy coffee. Which is it, right? Well, here's the deal. A cup of coffee alone by yourself is not worth as much as time spent drinking that cup of coffee with someone else. Remember, it's about time here. Time is what's the real value. And are you using your time for the glory of God? For the more important things according to God? Are you using your time to build up relationships and for friendship, and for being there for someone, and for blessing someone else? That's the godly perspective. You give up your time, you give up your money in order to invest in people. So you have to ask this question, how can I use my money and my time to serve God? Well, you can spend more time with your family and less time at work. When you're not strapped, you no longer have to chase after the overtime, the extra jobs, the more production, the more profit. You don't have to chase that stuff. You can spend more time at home. You place a higher value on time spent at home with your kids. If you have kids, if you choose to spend time with your family, choose to come home early, choose to retire early, choose more vacations with your family, it's more godly use of your time. And you can't do that with this poor perspective when you're always strapped, where you have to go to work so that you can spend to support this slavery to your spending. God wants you to be free to focus on the stuff that's really important in life, the stuff that really matters. How can I use my money, my time to serve God? Well, some people can't even think about vacations, right? Because they're so strapped for money. Vacations are great. Time away with your family is awesome. But also, vacations aren't as big of a deal when you're spending more time with your family on a regular basis. And vacations aren't as big of a deal. You sometimes, if you spend enough time with your family during the week, you might forego a vacation so that you can take a mission trip, so that you can use that vacation time to serve God. We spend thousands of dollars sometimes to go on a mission trip, to go on a trip for a week or so where we sleep on cots and we don't have AC and we shower just a few times a week. But we don't mind spending that kind of money on a mission trip because we know that money is supposed to go to serve God, and our time is supposed to go to serve God for His glory. So it's all about our perspective, the godly perspective. And we know that is really where the rich and satisfying life is found. When you have a godly perspective, it's not just like the rich perspective. You know, the rich perspective, you think that you just hoard your money away and you have to save, you couldn't spend it on anything. You know, but a godly perspective is, you know, sometimes it's worth spending money on luxuries so that you can have more free time to serve the Lord. Sometimes it's worth, you know, paying the lawn guy so that you can have time and energy to actually hang out with your kids. Or maybe you have time and energy to go mow your neighbor's yard with that time. Sometimes you save some time by hiring a maid service, keep your house clean so that you can invite more people over and have people and bless your neighbors more often. With a godly perspective on money, every resource that you have is given to God for His glory and for His kingdom. How do I use my resources, my money, my time to serve God? You know that beautiful kitchen remodel you just did with all your granite countertops? Put your granite countertops to work for God's glory as you invite people over, as you bless them, as you serve them dinner that you cook in your granite kitchen. All these things can be used for God's glory. Now, just a few weeks ago, I got to go visit my friend Teddy's new home. And my friend Teddy has a unique story about how God has changed his life. And at one point, Teddy was involved in some serious stuff. He was counterfeiting money, actually. And he printed millions and millions of dollars. So he could do whatever he wanted with these millions of counterfeit dollars that he printed. Before, of course, losing it all, serving time in prison, and then later becoming homeless when he got out of prison. Then Teddy gave his life to Jesus. And it's never been the same for him since then. He's a completely different person. Once his perspective was that life was all about him, and he needed more money to spend it on himself. Now he's got a godly perspective. And a few weeks ago, he and his wife moved into their very first home. And he invited me to come over and pray for them, to pray for their home, to bless his house. And we were walking through each room of his house, and he was explaining to me how in this room, this is the room that's going to be my prayer room. And I'm going to start every morning on my knees. And this is the room where I'm going to have Bible studies and men's groups. And that shelf over there is where I'm going to put all my books and resources on addiction and help other guys get out of drug and alcohol addiction. Every room of his house had a purpose for serving God, for the glory of God. His resources were being put to work as he served God. That's the godly perspective on money. We put our money to work for us, and we put ourselves to work for God. I use my money and my time to serve God. So instead of being a slave to spending, instead of being a slave to work or a slave to an employer driven by a paycheck, you can actually become a servant of God to live a life of true riches, true abundance, not of monetary wealth and riches, but a loving relationship with Him and with others. That's where the rich life is really found. And Jesus wants to teach us that way to live life. So today, as we gather together at the Lord's table for communion, we remember this kind of life that Jesus gave to us. He modeled it. He lived this simple, selfless life for others that was rich in love. And we remember as we dip the bread into the juice and eat it, we remember the grace that He's poured out on us, the grace-filled sacrifice that this meal represents, where Jesus' body was broken and His blood was shed for us. So, as we gather together today, I invite you to rid yourself of the guilt and shame, as God has taken all that away in Jesus' sacrifice on the cross. I invite you to live a life that is not concerned about what you can do for yourself, but it is a selfless sacrifice for others, how you can bless other people. I invite you to not just give your intellectual ideas to God, but to give your very lives to Him. And let this bread and juice be a representation as you have received that gift of new life today. Let's pray and thank God for this gift. Love God. We're so grateful for all that you've done for us. For your love, for your grace, for your sacrifice, for your selflessness. God, we pray that your Holy Spirit would come and fill this bread and juice and make it be for us like your body and your blood, so that we, as we eat it, we would remember what you've done for us. We would be filled with your Spirit. We would be empowered to live differently, to live a new life. Thank you, Lord Jesus.